We're excited to have you here. Our Marco Polo for Impact community launch event, the first of what we hope will be many, many events. We're here today talking about creating and scaling genuine connection. And we're really excited. We've got some great panelists on board today. Just a little bit of an agenda. I'm Megan, head of partnerships and community with Marco Polo. I've been at the team for about 6 years now. And so this has been definitely a dream come true of mine to get to work with community and business leaders like yourselves and help utilize and foster deeper connections. So for today, we're going to run through, why this impact community and a little bit about Marco Polo for those who maybe aren't as familiar with our purpose and what we're hoping to accomplish. Talk about our newest feature, Sharecast. It was just released last week. Dive into our panel where we've got some amazing individuals here today to talk about their experiences and hopefully have you walk away with some great tips on how you can utilize Marco Polo in your own business as well. And then talk about next steps, how you can be part of this community and what we've got coming up. So here we go. So, why we're all here. I love in the chat where we're seeing different people from all different backgrounds who are here to learn about Marco Polo. And I know that people are joining us from different areas, fitness coaches, educators, support groups. We've got real estate agents using Marco Polo. And we are here and building this community because for many years now, so many of you have reached out to us saying, hey, I'm using Marco Polo outside of this friends and family use case. And I'd love to know, are there other people using it like me? Do you have any tips? What are the best practices? And we're really excited to put this impact community together to share just that. The tips, best practices, and resources to help you foster deeper connections with your community and with your teams. And so as part of that, it's really expanding on our purpose as a company of helping people feel close and building tech that's good for you. And I know many of you have, similar missions in your business to bring people together and to build community. And so we're really excited that our purposes can align on that. And I know many of you are here today because you love the connection of Marco Polo and you don't want to sacrifice, data and privacy when you're connecting with your members and your clients. And so as a company, our, promise is to build a product that's built to be good for you. And what that means is that Marco Polo doesn't have ads or algorithms. We're not selling user data. We want you to come on and feel that real connection and then be able to go about your day. You're not there scrolling. And as a leader and a community gatherer, you're not competing with an algorithm or with a feed to reach your members. You're able to share with them directly and then kind of keep moving on while you foster those kinds of connections. I'm curious if that relates to anyone or if you knew about our purpose and our promise of being built to be good for you. Would love to hear from you in the chat. And so I wanted to kind of highlight before we dive in with our panelists, just different ways we're hearing about the impact community using Marco Polo. And I want to highlight these 3 different ways. So we've got our one-on-one conversations, we've got group conversations, and our latest Sharecast. And so for many of you who are longtime users of Marco Polo, and I saw you in the chat, 2 years, 3 years, you've been on the app, this may be a little bit of a review, but I wanted to kind of go a little high level here for this. One-on-one chats are definitely the most intimate. We've had coaches who, pay for that one-on-one coaching and they meet on Zoom, and one-on-one chat can be as an add-on to that, giving them access to authentic conversations, meeting their clients where they're at. So that's definitely the most personal way. And we have many people using the one-on-one capabilities. For groups, group sizes on Marco Polo actually go up to 200, but it's a little bit busy for a group to be 200 people strong. But we have success from groups that are small, 5 to 8 people, all the way up. And so the thing that leaders have shared with us is, hey, Megan, groups are awesome, but as a leader, my content gets lost. And if we've got a real chatty group and there's lots of polos going on in there, my members say it's hard to keep up, right? The conversation's moved on. They've got 50 polos to get through. Can there be an easier way? And this is where we've come out with our latest feature, Sharecast. It was just released last week. And Sharecast allows you, the leader or the Sharecaster, the ability to share one polo that goes to all your participants and their responses come back to you directly. So this takes that noise out of group interactions. And we're excited today to have a couple people on our panel who have used Sharecast during our early access phase, and they can talk with you a little bit more about that. So with Sharecast, as I mentioned, you're able to send one polo to all participants. Participants in your Sharecast cannot see who else is in the Sharecast. Sharecasts go up to 1,000 participants, so bigger than groups, where groups went to 200. And this is what the response platform looks like, this GIF right here with Shelly. So members are able to leave emoji reactions or video reactions to your polos. They're 30 seconds in length. And you, as the Sharecaster, can heart it, or you can also reply to the person, which takes it over to a one-on-one chat. So this is our latest free feature where everyone is now able to use it. As I mentioned, just released today, and we will talk a little bit about that as well. All right, popping over to meet our speakers. So really excited today to have this group on board. And when I was thinking about a launch event for the Impact community, I wanted to make sure there was great diversity in how people were using Marco Polo. And I'm really pleased to say that this group definitely has that, using an array of one-on-one chats, group communication and Sharecast with both, clients or full companies, as well as, paid and unpaid options. So excited for you to meet all of them. Shelly, do we know Brenden Durell? Is he able to make it on? Oh, is Brenden here? Yes, Brendan's here. Awesome. All right. So meeting our speakers here, Brenden Durell, Aubrey Grossen, Sean Bailey, and Casey Watts. Thank you all for joining us. I'm going to stop my sharing. Can we see everyone on there? Great. Thank you for joining us today. I would love to start off with some introductions. So if you could share like a bit about your background and how you're using Marco Polo with your community. Aubrey, you want to kick us off?
You bet. I'll start us off. So I am a maternal mental health coach, and I'm the founder of Anya, which stands for A New You Again. And it's a program that helps women who have just any kind of mental health issues. So we have moms who are just barely postpartum. We have women who haven't had kids. We have women that are older. And we use Marco Polo within our system. It's like the backbone of all that we do. So I basically divide my membership into groups of 10, and those women get to connect every single week. And then I use Sharecast as well, where I can kind of use that as announcements when I'm talking to all of them, so they can ask me specific questions. So I use Marco Polo in every aspect. I do the one-on-ones, the groups, the Sharecast. It's awesome.
Thank you, Aubrey. Brenden, where in the world is Brenden Durell right now? Are you still in Machu Picchu?
No, but I'm still in Peru.
Okay.
How's everybody going? My name is Brenden Durell. I'm a wellness mentor. I bridge mind, body, spirit, and help people apply it to just have the best human experience as possible. That's my approach to spirituality. I've been using Marco Polo for several years now, and I really got into the groove of it in 2020 when the world was closed. And I was using it for my men's work groups and just like really close brothers and family. And it kept me in the space of feeling the intimate connection with my loved ones. And then literally I was like, how come I don't use this with my clients? Like, why don't I do this? Because the truth is we can't hide in Marco Polo. You're just there. So it's been a big part of my journey. And yeah, I just love how I can also use Marco Polo wherever I'm at, globetrotting. I'm in Peru today, in Mexico in a couple of days, and then who knows? But the one thing that stands is that Marco Polo is always there with me. So I'm super grateful for it.
Love that. Thank you for joining us, Brenden. How about over to Florida to Sean?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm Sean. I'm with Apartment Life. We're a faith-based nonprofit that works in the multifamily industry in apartments, and we're passionate about seeing every individual living in community with one another. And so we place folks to live in an apartment all across the US, now in the UK and Canada. We found out about Marco Polo actually at an industry conference. A friend in the network just kind of said, hey, are you on Polo? I said, no. We joined it, and I brought it back to my Florida team and was immediately hooked. It was a great way for us to, as Brenden said, just have relationship with one another. Obviously, it was all for a loop, and it helped us to stay in relationship while still distancing safely with each other. And then our coordinators, who are kind of the hands and feet of everything that we do, they're out there loving on people and trying to serve them in apartments. And they went a really hard time. And so Marco Polo in right at the right time for us to still be able to coach and develop them, which I love to hear. Everybody is coaching people and empowering people with what they do here. And I think that's the power of Marco Polo. So we love it.
Thank you, Sean. And last but certainly not least, Casey Watts in Texas. Welcome, Casey.
Hey, everybody. So I am Casey Watts, and I am an impact consultant. And my why is vision collaborative learning communities. The vast majority of people come to work eager and inspired, feel valued and empowered while at work, and leave each day feeling as though they have fully unleashed their impact. So I have utilized Marco Polo for years, just with friends and close colleagues. But when I moved into instructional coaching specifically, I found that I could not divide my time among all of the teachers as much as I would like to. So in comes Marco Polo, and it is just phenomenal in that realm also. But as I moved in coaching and consulting, I realized that it was a great platform to be able to connect with people who I was consulting with and not able to be there full time with them, but still carry on some conversation about what we had done in our consulting engagement together. And I have just started utilizing Sharecast as kind of like an online course, but using it as a way to funnel into an individual and group coaching business. So I'm super excited about that. And so excited to hear from all of these wonderful people too.
Yes, love that. Thank you, everyone, for your brief intros. We'll definitely dive in more. And I think to start, there's so many tools and resources and apps available for you to use with your business. And I'm curious, for each of you, what were you using before, and kind of how did it compare to Marco Polo? What have you seen be like the difference maker for you and your worlds? Who wants to kick us off? Brenden. Oh, Aubrey, go ahead. Yeah, go.
I'm happy to, because I just know it right off the bat. So I'm like, I'll start us off. I initially started all of my stuff with networking stuff on Facebook, and there is a place for Facebook for sure, but it can only go so far. Like you can't replicate the connection that Marco Polo brings. And sure, I can grow, a group of tens of thousands of moms, and it's awesome, and we can connect that way, but on Facebook, but there's no actual connection. It's all behind a computer screen. It's all behind just words. And that brings a lot of, great things with words, and also not so great things when people are hiding behind a computer screen. So for me, Marco Polo brings things at face value. It brings real connection, real conversation. It gets rid of everything like the algorithm, everything that is a mess with the other social media platforms, and allows you to just have that true connection, vulnerability as a face-to-face in the most authentic way.
Love that. And Brenden, I see you nodding along over there. Anything to add? I know you're in the group kind of coaching as well. You've got anything to add on what Aubrey was sharing?
Yeah, I just exactly what Aubrey said about you can't hide behind the other apps. Like I love the other apps. I love the purpose of Voxer. I love the purpose of Telegram and a lot of these other spaces. However, I feel in my style of coaching, intimacy is the biggest thing with all relations. So Marco Polo in the center, and also it supports me to lighten the load with if I have a group program, and let's say I drop something in the group, everybody else, they feel the vibe, how to communicate, how to serve each other. So even with the little 10-second parts of like the videos where you can drop in and be acknowledged, it's huge because it takes the focus off of me and allows everybody to share in it. So yeah, exactly what Aubrey said. It's just, you can't hide.
I want to add to that. And I was thinking about this the other day. I'm traveling in my car constantly, and that's where I do most of my listening in Marco Polo, and even getting on Marco Polo. We have like a group where we kind of have this joke. It's like coaches in the car, because we're all in the car talking to each other. But it's so interesting when someone has left a video, you can actually, as a coach, analyze what you're noticing about them as they're talking, because it's completely uninterrupted and it's completely uniquely them, and their self. So it's a great time for you to sit back as a coach and analyze what you're noticing and then think about how to coach them to next steps.
Love that. And Sean, I know you've got your, entire company on 120 people, and, how has that been? What were you using before Marco Polo?
We were using a lot of email, to be honest, and a lot of, we use private Facebook groups for some staff things. But as far as like sharing what's going on with the latest of the organization, it was honestly large group texts. And we were just overloading on that. And to be honest, you couldn't tell to the comments, couldn't tell who was engaged and who was struggling and maybe on the outskirts of different things. And so first thing we did was really kind of break up into smaller groups. And so each major group, whether it be in our recruiting team or be in our client relations side of things, we were able to break them down. And what was great is the newcomer could use that group link. So in their onboarding checklist, if they're a new hire, they clicked that link and went straight into the group. And it was like, here we go. And they had the welcome video from me sharing about what the group's about and what they're going to do. And it was like they hit the ground running instead of waiting until we saw the national retreat or waiting until whatever. So they started to already find their affinity groups pretty off of that. And so that's one of just getting the newcomer in was probably the greatest thing for us with Marco Polo. And then there's plenty more to share, but I'll wait till you prompt for others. But that was huge for us.
Well, and dropping some pro tips there, if people in starting groups aren't utilizing that initial welcome video or group share links, it gives you the ability that you don't have to actually have someone in your Marco Polo account. They can tap on a link on their mobile device and it'll add them right into the group. Sean just dropping pro tips right there. Love that. I saw one question kind of coming in, and I think that there's an idea, and maybe this, related more pre-COVID times, this idea of people having that face anxiety with video. I saw in the comments there, someone sharing, I use Voxer because people are nervous about video. And I'm curious for each of you, what was it like getting your clients or teams onto Marco Polo, another new app? Like, how do you get them to like, okay, no, we're doing this. Like, this is how we operate. Any like tips for that or feedback that you've gotten from your members over the years?
I know for me, it's just in cultivating a community. That's one of my standards of being seen, of going past that resistance, that fear of actually letting somebody see all of you. So getting people from, we had our groups on Voxer before getting them onto Marco Polo. For me, there was some resistance from certain people. And then they also knew that was my level of standard in regards to relating with them. So they adapted big time.
Yeah. And for us, one of our catchphrases is come as you are, come as you please. So, and that's a way for me to model too. So I'm continuously modeling, like I'm coming to you with no makeup on, or I'm coming to you, have kids in the background, bickering, or, we want it to be as comfortable an environment for them as possible, but that takes modeling. So that's kind of how we approach it.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing with Casey. We kind of have that same, like, come as you are. You can have like kids in the back. You can come just right out, like come as you are, and setting that model for them to do, like what Brenden was saying. You show up that way, we'll start to. And I always just encourage them, like, get comfortable being uncomfortable for a second. And you'll know, like within the couple years I've used it, the women who are hopping on are like my regulars. And from the beginning, they were the ones that were like the most scared to get on. So I think it's just a matter of, being that example to get on and setting that standard and allowing that space of, coming as you are, to have them get out of their comfort zone and they get used to it. They like it now. Like, it's not something that lasts forever. It's something that's just like maybe in the beginning and then they're good. So I love that.
Good. I love people using their core values, it sounds like, as you explain this, because like our core value of being real plays into this, right? Like, we're going to be real with one another, which means we're going to come into this and we're going to be honest, right? And our other core values are playful and caring, right? So you're going to see that, you're going to exude that in somewhere in how we use Marco Polo together. And sometimes it's when, like, I throw a dad joke on the company Marco Polo, and just to get everyone to chill out and like relax a little bit, because work is work, but we need to have fun together and be a family, or else we can't get stuff done together. So I love that.
I love that. The fun, the dad jokes. We need those. And I'm curious, just any tips or learnings to share with like starting a new kind of program on Marco Polo or incorporating Marco Polo? Any like early tips to share with someone who maybe is using Marco Polo for the friends and family case now and is considering using it with their business or for an impact related kind of venture?
I'll go with some of my family. We had a hard time getting on board to kind of how to do this, whatever. And that was actually harder than getting my company on because I had a little bit of sway in the company, but the family not so much. But anybody that's afraid of kind of jumping into this has to see an example, right? And an app invite, we get those all the time in our day-to-day lives now. And I think showing them exactly what it is. So maybe I think FOMO is a good reason to help people, right? So if you already have an existing group, downloading a really good video that just happened that was shared with the permission, obviously the person who shared it, but sending that to them in a text, because you can do that by holding down, over the icon. That's huge because then they realize I'm missing out on something that could be beneficial for me as an individual. I'll check this thing out and be a part of that. So that's been a way we've done it.
That's a great suggestion there, Sean. And I feel like Brenden, I've seen you do that in your Instagram stories with like your community, and Aubrey, yours as well, of like taking that screen grab or something from like the Marco Polo interface and like resharing it over the FOMO.
Yeah, with my group experiences, not so much a one-on-ones. And I see somebody asked a question here about how do we convince people to get over to the other app. First thing for me, it's like I don't convince anybody of anything. It's similar to what Sean said. It's like, that FOMO thing, like this is where we're working from now. This is it. And also with my group programs, I use it as a learning tool. So if people have a lot of anxiety around switching over to this, downloading that, getting into there, leaving a video, I'm like, what's coming up for you then? Like, because this is not only happening here in this Marco Polo thing, this is happening everywhere else, other places in your life. So I use it as a teaching moment when people want to gripe about another app, another thing, like, hey, this is it.
Yeah, so I use Marco Polo and Facebook kind of interchangeably. So when you come into like a sharecast, I encourage people to go to the Facebook group where I'm going to be dropping some things, but it's not where everything lives. Like it's just where the basic level is. And if you want to take your growth to the next level, then you're going to have to come into the Marco Polo group with us. And if you're not ready for that, then this group isn't really free. Like, I know it sounds kind of bad to say, but that's not really the kind of person that I'm going after. I want the person who wants it. So I use those interchangeably. And, like some of you have said, I can save some videos and post them into the Facebook group just to show this is some conversation that's happening. If you want to know more, remember, we've got the Marco Polo group going. Come join us.
I was just going to add too, I think in coaching, I like to have my clients know where they can reach me. If they send me a Facebook message, like I have hundreds to get through, I will not respond over there. And I won't like, even in emails, like I'm not going to respond to anywhere else unless they Marco Polo me. So I think having that kind of standard for and setting that boundary for where you're going to be and where, like, I'll even be specific, like, hey, you can reach out to me or ask me questions and I'll answer on Fridays, or whatever that might be, so that boundary is clear and that they know where they can get a hold of you. And if they want to get a hold of you, then they know where to go. Marco Polo.
Yeah, I'll jump in on that too real quick, Megan, because the reality of the business side of this, if you're running a business and trying to transition folks into this, sorry, my kids are talking through Alexa right now. So literally just came up. I'm gonna unplug that. So essentially, make sure that you are communicating how you communicate, right? Like if you don't have a guideline for that in your organization to share how Marco Polo fits into that, you're going to get people calling you about the project they want you to do something on, and Asana is the place for that task, right? Like don't bring a task to me in Marco Polo. That's the place where we collaborate with one another. That's the place where we can have flexible time on responding to things. So where we have a company criteria of respond to an email within 24 hours or one business day, essentially. Marco Polo is a 2-day or a 3-day in that scenario, because we understand that it's for the flexibility of having people use it in a time frame that works best for them.
Sean, you're bringing up some really great things. And I believe I saw some questions come in about this too. You know, as leaders who are kind of using Marco Polo as a tool, how do you set up those kinds of parameters? So like starting with Brenden, like I know that you have, you know, your group coaching that's going on. You also have your one-on-one clients. Like what parameters do you kind of set up for frequency, for responsiveness, to make sure you're not overwhelmed and that you feel that like connection being built among your clients?
Yeah, I set the expectation early. I'm just direct in saying like I'm here to support you, but I'm not going to hold your hand every minute of the day. So I'm really direct with that in the beginning with clients. And I say I offer daily/weekly support. So even if they want to share, this is with one-on-one clients, even if they want to share vulnerably, it's like I give myself grace like 24 to 48 hours to respond to them if it needs a response, because sometimes they just need an outlet just to speak. So I just make sure that that's how it is in the one-on-one and the group programs from the jump, like from the beginning. Like I was trained in online spaces that the most important part of any online group program in the beginning, it's the first 3 days of the program, like getting everybody excited, responding to every single message, giving people a subconscious piece of joy to want to be there, like, oh, this person sees me. So once that foundation's laid out, then as the group goes along, everybody sees a standard on how we communicate with each other, how we serve each other, how we support each other. And also I let other people in the community know that you're not responsible to have to answer and watch every single video. Like this is the place you come. So I set these standards in the beginning overall, so people don't have these expectations of me that I'm not aware of.
Yeah, and I think, Brenden, that's a big point of with the group conversations, don't feel like you need to answer or watch every single polo. I know, Aubrey, you do a lot of work with groups and you have your sister circles. Are there any norms that you create within your kind of group program?
Yeah, so it's optional because I know that sometimes you hop on and it's like, oh, I'm behind 42 messages. And so I tell them, just watch the like most recent 2 and call it good. Like there's no point in like going back to conversations that were like a couple weeks ago, because you were probably up to date with those, and go back to the most recent, because there's no point in being overwhelmed by something that is in the past. So that's kind of what I've told them to do, and it's helped a lot.
Love that. And Casey, was there any kind of norms that you've set? I know, Sharecast was a big thing that you use, and there's a little bit different kind of set, with the direct messages there. It's not maybe as public if you don't respond to everyone. Any tips that you have?
So for setting norms, like with groups or in Sharecast? In groups?
I just overall with Marco Polo, I know you did a lot of one-on-one outreach groups and then Sharecast.
So in right now we have I have another group that I'm a part of also, and we just actually started a Sharecast for the group because the group's getting just so big that, kind of like you were saying, Aubrey, like they've got too many messages, and we want just a central location for people to hear the main announcements. Here's what's coming. Here's what people have been talking about. But we also, in those very first videos, have norms that we set, and we actually have 4 specific norms, and it's come as you are, come as you please. We do coaching and life together, and I can't believe it, but I'm missing the last one, which is okay. I do live by it. I just can't remember it. So anyway, we set from the beginning, and we just repeat those norms regularly. And I think that's a big part of it. It's just repeating norms regularly. Because people forget about it, and some people have different personalities. So you do have those people who want to catch up with everything because they have severe FOMO. And for those people like me, I'm like, oh, I missed 42. Okay, I'm just gonna not watch those and hope that people catch me up if needed in a one-on-one. So you have that option too. Like, if you really want to get connected with someone, you always have that one-on-one connection.
It's a great reminder. And Sean, I know you started and you mentioned, Marco Polo, 24 to 48 hour kind of response time. Were there any other norms that you have? I imagine with being at a company level, there's lots of sub kind of Marco Polo groups kind of going on and norms for that.
We actually haven't done a lot to manage the individual groups because we've broken them out faster than they've kind of gotten, I think, overwhelming. What I will do is I'll notice using the little icons at the bottom, I can see who's way behind. And so I'll just kind of scroll back a little bit and just see who's like days behind. And if they're not on vacation or something else, I'll probably check in with them and just, hey, how's it going? What's going on? And then also in the conversation, politely say, hey, you could just catch up if you need to. And I have heard a few times if there was a catch me up button, that would be helpful. So just drop that in here. But essentially, like no harm, no foul. Just get back up to speed so that you can be in the know on these different things. We don't want you 2 months behind on conversation and stuff. But just checking in has probably been the most helpful. And then for myself, because I want to give myself some of that time to rest on things. I think Brenden said I need 24 hours, maybe think through it. I'd use that reminder tool, right? And add myself a reminder and come back to it the next day. And that's like mark as unread for your email inbox. You know what I mean?
Oh yes, I definitely like have to stop watching a polo before I get to the end, so it keeps the red notification. Like I need to come back to this. A little more pro tips. Like one thing we talked about is, creating genuine connections over Marco Polo. And, Casey, I love how you talk about when you're poloing someone, you can see their surroundings with that. And Brenden, you talked about like in the first 3 days, how it's just so impactful that you like make that connection. How do, each of you make those genuine connections over Marco Polo? Are there things you say or different norms that like allow people to be more vulnerable?
I'll hop in on that because like part of using Sharecast, it can be easy not to get to know all of the people that are in your Sharecast. But ultimately, like if I'm doing a Sharecast, my ultimate goal is for them to come over to individual coaching or our group. And so what I love about Marco Polo is I have my own individual Polo for myself where I just record videos. Nobody else sees it. It's called Casey's Group, and I record videos for myself. And that's like I'm driving and I think about something that I want to remind myself of. So I'll record a polo, but I also record a message that could go out to everyone. I just try to make it a generic message. With a very specific message, though, that lots of people can relate and connect to. I'll make that video and then I'll forward it to all of the people in my Sharecast to try to get in on some one-on-one conversations so that they still feel like, oh, she's here for me, and that's what I want them to feel like. I'm here for you specifically. But I can't multiply myself enough to be able to do that, on my own without it taking so much time. So the forwarding option is perfect.
Really good tip with that. Yeah. And doing that kind of generic polo. Hey, wanted to reach out about, blah, blah, blah. Like, tell me more. What did you think about that last polo? Those like conversation starters, really, really helpful. Anyone else have Brenden?
Yeah, I know this is because guys are dropping gems on how we all use it for our personal business. And something that I found that saves so much time for me is sometimes in my groups, and this is on Marco Polo, not on Sharecast particularly. I'll see how my whole group's doing all week, what the theme is, and then I'll make one polo in regards to everything and touching some bases with some notes I've written down. And sometimes within that polo, I'm like, I rewatch it after. I'm like, damn, I dropped some gems in there. People need to hear this. So I'll save the video, the feature that we can save the polos, and then I'll cut that up and I'll actually add some of those pieces and make reels on Instagram with that as like a grab to get people into my Sharecast, into my space. Of course, it's not the whole thing, but it's like breadcrumbs in a way. So for those of you who are looking to market and do things with your business, like it's also an amazing tool to also do that, to maximize your time. And it's free.
Oh, that's great. Aubrey, I know that for you, your program has really scaled in a number of ways. And so I'd love to just, you're kind of doing something a little different with your like monthly membership, and you have different leads in each of the groups. So you're not, watching all of the groups going on. Can you talk a little bit about how you've scaled your program with Marco Polo?
Yeah, this is why I feel like Marco Polo is like everything to me, because you can scale intimacy. So I have those circles of 10 women, and then I have a mentor for each of those circles. So that mentor can be that coach in that circle, connect with those women, and I have them do weekly check-ins where they share their highs and lows. I have them hop in and do motivational things. I have them hop in and do accountability. So they're kind of my ears and eyes of my membership. And as we've continued to scale, I'm like, holy cow, you can scale intimacy. That's something that you can do with Marco Polo. That's not something you can do anywhere else, but if you have Marco Polo, you truly can.
I love that. And then you really utilize the Sharecast as a place to like reach all of them. Is there 150 total right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and it's just growing like crazy and it's awesome. But Marco Polo has allowed us to continue that growth because it's a tool that's already set up. So I put them, they each get into a circle that they're a part of. And then we have a Sharecast within all the members. So if I have like an announcement, I want to share that I want everyone to see, they can see that on the Sharecast. I also utilize it within like the leadership. So if instead of like, I secretly hate meetings. Like if something can be done like in a quick Marco Polo or email, like please just like do not give me a meeting if we don't know how to do a meeting. And I feel like Sharecast with your leaders has helped so much to just like nix meetings, give a quick like Sharecast message. They can ask questions if needed, but then it's just like one and done. So I'm a huge fan of both. I feel like they line up so well with the different purposes that they have.
Love that. And Casey, I know that you were using your Sharecast as well for like a more short-term course. So it's not as much like ongoing, but it's like, hey, how did you think of the content you were sharing? Like Aubrey mentions, like highs and lows for the week, wins of the week. Like, is there a certain setup that you had done for the Sharecast in that program?
Yeah, so I have done 2 Sharecasts so far. I'm about to go into my 3rd Sharecast in August. And my 3rd Sharecast, my first Sharecasts were completely free. That really truly was a way to like reel people into individual and group coaching. But the 3rd one's going to be, I'm going to try to monetize it. But I'm going to take it a step further into monetizing it into individual courses. So really the Sharecast, like you can teach a brief course and you can teach a longer course, but teaching a brief course is what I have found is best because they know certain sessions are coming. So I just have split up like one of my recent one was 3 things you need to be a collaborative leader. So they know it's going to be like 3 things. That's what you're getting. But I'm splitting into like 4 sessions or 5 sessions. So we have a pre-session and they know from the beginning, like every session is going to be about 3 or 4 videos. And what's so cool too is I can drop in like photos from my phone so that they're just like bookends, so they know that session 1's coming. I even have like a little recording in the beginning of a session. So they know like, here's a countdown for session 1. They're going to watch through those videos and there's like a call to action. And then a few days later, it's like, here's session 2, a few videos, call to action. So it's just making it really repetitive, but also, I don't want to say repetitive, maybe consistent is the word that I'm thinking of. But I feel like there are so many different ways you could implement a course there. I'm just starting to test it out though. And I feel like it has worked so well. And the thing about it is after my last Sharecast, people were like, I need more. Well, I can't give you more without breaking up what I've already taught into individual courses. Therein lies my paid courses because you're going to get a whole lot more with these more detailed courses because you're going to have to come in for some individual coaching and some group collaboration. So.
Love that. Sean, I know with having, 120 people on board, do you have a way right now? I think groups maybe is a way to get like all company kind of news and information out. Does Marco Polo work for that as well?
Yeah, so we use it. I will be honest, it's being done nervously right now just because we have a kind of a core values group that we put all of our employees on, and as they come to the organization every Monday, there's someone in national leadership that kind of checks in and shares who we are as an organization and just continuing to kind of just push our push our culture into the cement downward, right? And so we use a large group for right now, but when Sharecast came out, and I'm taking notes on listening to Casey and Aubrey as they begin to share, because I really think that Sharecast is the long-term solution for that, just because now you've been here for 2 days and you're ready to just kind of chime in to the whole organization on how you feel about different things, whatever. We're not afraid of bad things happening. That's the great part. Our organization is kind of like, yeah, whatever. But then you just take everybody down on a rabbit trail. And so Sharecast, I think, for a large organization, implementing is a huge way. And I like what Casey was sharing. Like, I'm trying to think of Sharecast as a way to on-ramp and off-ramp through a specific topic. And I think that's the biggest thing that we continue to want to see out of Marco Polo, is that opportunity to develop specific topical groups where we can begin to pour into. And we do that kind of departmentally today, but long term, Sharecast can really help to have the conversation around, hey, if you want to learn about this thing for our coaching and development tracks, we can just throw you into that. And it came up in a Marco Polo where we're all in a group together, and I just sent it to you on the sly so you could begin to become a part of that. I think that's awesome. I think that tracking is the biggest thing for me, is like, okay, how do I make sure I know who's on what? But I think if we can have the same functionality, like that people can join a group and drop out of a group in the same way, let them self-serve is the way of leadership today, right? It's no longer the organization telling you what you should know, but you self-discovering that. And to everybody's point, I'm not babysitting you in this. I'm just coaching and helping to assist you in the process. So yeah, that's going to be cool for us. We're excited about Sharecast for that.
Excited for that. Thank you, Sean. I've got some questions here coming in from the panel, for the panel here. So one question, so is everyone on the panel using the pro version of Marco Polo? So Marco Polo Plus. Can we talk a little bit about that? Because, we consciously made that decision to go ahead with a subscription model to keep it ad free and not selling data. And I know that, with the free version of Marco Polo, unlimited Marco Polos, unlimited chats, ease of use there. But how have your members dealt with that, with being on Plus or on free and all that? Anyone open to chatting about it?
So with my community, I've been on Plus anyway, because I'm a big believer in the 2x feature. It's like, I love to hear shares, but if I can save a few seconds from my life, I'm going to do that. So that's also that was my biggest thing when it came to upgrading. And also with people like one-on-one clients and my group programs, I always offer them Polo Plus passes included in their membership, so they can get all the features for free as well. So that's how I go about it. And I want them to also, anybody who's in my program, because they hear other people share, I want them to be able to 1x or 2x the conversations as well, so they're not there all day. So that was my deciding factor in being a Plus member.
Yeah, I saw somebody put in the comments, like, what did they say? That Plus is a no-brainer. And I really completely agree with that. And I've heard, I don't tell any of my clients or consulting engagement clients, I don't tell anyone you need Marco Polo Plus. But once I gift them the Marco Polo Plus pass, it's a little bit of an eye opener for them. Hey, maybe I do want this. And I'm like, yeah, maybe you do want it, because it's amazing.
Yeah, I would just echo what everyone's been saying. It is a no-brainer. I feel like, especially within my membership, you just have to have the 2x feature. You just that sells it for me right there. So I think it's a no-brainer for sure.
Awesome.
I mentioned in the chat already, but our staff are all on that, and then our volunteers, of which we have about 1,000 of those. We do not buy the pro for them, but some elect to do it themselves. And I'll say also, when you have folks that span across the globe, there are folks that speak very slow and intentional, and I'm one of those people that talk pretty fast when I need to. So the fast talkers in the room are going to hit that 2x to be able to catch up with everybody. And just being real, you got to have that, because it's just going to help you to kind of move through a lot of that process pretty quickly. So, but I also find myself intentionally stopping hitting that button too when it's a heartfelt share from the individual, right? Go back, play it again. Don't just 2x everything. Sometimes slow down to hear that person's heart when they're being real.
Yeah, that's a great one.
You know,
Okay, Brenden.
Yeah, I just wanted to share in regards to what Sean was saying too. And I know you and I have spoken a lot of, because I've been searching for what works, like being an entrepreneur is being an artist before an entrepreneur. So just seeing what works and what feels good. And I was using other platforms like community app, like the texting app to people and all these things. And I realized that over 45% of my community on social media and everything, it's international. So that's one thing I love about Sharecast is that no matter where you are in the world, if you got data, you're going to get the Sharecast message. Where when I used the other platforms, it didn't happen that way. Only US and Canada. So that was a big determining factor in considering Sharecast.
Awesome. We had a question coming in for Aubrey, and I'm sure that it applies to others as well. Are your circles actually on Marco Polo? Do you use Zoom and another platform for circles? And so I think that just in general, what we've seen is that there is a place for like live meetings with Marco Polo. Can you talk a little about that, Aubrey?
Yeah, for sure. So we do like everything on Marco Polo, and then we do Zoom once a week. So they get to like be interacting just like how we are right now. And then throughout the rest of their time, they have Marco Polo. And it's just convenient because as moms, a lot of our members are moms. It's so nice to just be like, okay, I can jump on now that it's, nap time or whatever it is. Like it's so convenient as a mom. I feel like Marco Polo is made for moms because we just need that. Like we just need that time to listen and then hop on when we can. So it's been amazing, but we do meet on Zoom once a week to have that live interaction. And then it just continues to enhance our relationship with Marco Polo.
And Casey, I know that you use some other tools as well for your Sharecast.
Yeah, so I actually do book studies through Sharecast and subgroups as well. So all of like when people join a book study, which the book studies are free and they will always be free, but when they join a book study, they join the Sharecast, and then they have the option to join a subgroup, like a core collaborative group is what we call them. And so they have that option to go into the groups, and they're all linked in the Sharecast very easily. I link them on Facebook. And then we'll have like 2 live sessions, kind of like Aubrey said, throughout the book study. And we do the same thing with my group coaching. It's like we do it probably every 2 weeks just because time gets away from us. So it's really hard to manage one every week. But if you can, great.
And Brenden, I know with your group coaching program, were there other tools that you use in conjunction with it, or is most of it happening in Marco Polo group itself?
I use, we have our big live calls with Zoom. A year ago, with Zoom. That's how we do that. And the Marco Polo is like the glue between the lab experiences, the integration, the processing, all the things. So yeah, we use Zoom or Google Meets for our big groups, and sometimes I even have like a Telegram channel, like as I believe Aubrey was saying. It's just like a basic like, hey, here goes the file for this. It's in the Google Drive. Also, there's a video waiting for you, Marco Polo. So I do use the free platform like Telegram in order to direct people over to the Sharecast and to the Marco Polo.
That's great. Awesome. Well, I know that there's more questions coming in, and I certainly don't want this to be the end of the conversation, but we are coming to the end of our time here. So to thank you so much to these panelists, I'm going to have Tira drop in, how you can connect with each of them through LinkedIn or their different social platforms if you did want to follow up with that. Many of them on our website as well. We're going to have different stories there, and you can read more about how they're utilizing our Marco Polo, groups and one-on-one and Sharecast and all of that. So there will be an opportunity there. And, with our Marco Polo for Impact community, I love this quote, the best journeys start with a small spark. And we certainly see, this inaugural event being that small spark for our greater community, what we see growing into many different things of, events and resources and stories from different people using the products like the panelists today, networking and access to us. And so I know someone was asking like, hey, how can I see the Sharecast experience? We are actually creating an Impact Community Sharecast that we're going to email out a link after this that you're able to join. And it'll be a space that myself and Tira and Shelly from the community team can share these tips and resources as we're hearing things, as we're getting questions. You can interact with us there. So you can really see the experience and see how you might be able to use it in your world. So be on the lookout for that email. And, a big thing is we really want to hear from you for feedback. I've connected with each of these panelists over Polo and live meetings and all sorts of things to really understand, like, how can we keep improving? Like how, what's a best practice, or what do you need from us to be able to take your business to the next level with those connections? And so we're also going to link in a feedback form. I'd love to know, like, how can we provide resources or events that are most helpful to you? So as we continue growing this community, we're making sure it's of high value. And lastly, I think a big thing, you hear us talk at Marco Polo a lot about our purpose of really wanting to help people feel close. And I know with many of you, it aligns with your purpose as well, wanting to have that genuine connection and with your members. And so I love that we can align on that. And at Marco Polo, we're in this for the long run. We really want to provide a space that people can have authentic and safe ways to connect. And I think that Vlada's quote here really tells it best, by what if we put the spotlight on authentic connection, communication, and emotional well-being? What if tech could bring out the best in all of us? What if we could create social technology that just brings you closer to your people? And I believe we have. And at Marco Polo, we believe that, technology can do more, and that we're the people who are going to do it. And we'd love to partner with you to help you create this as well. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming today. Be sure to look out for an email with some more details. And thank you to all of our panelists for being here, for sharing so openly and authentically. We are so glad to have you in the community. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.